Good morning, everyone. How's everyone doing this morning? Well, it's a beautiful overcast day here in southern PA. We've had a lot of rain last night and a lot of rain in the forecast come this 5 to 7 day forecast. So I'm kind of judging my work day off of that. I want to go ahead and harvest all my tomatoes because they'll probably just crack if I leave them out here with that much rain. I also want to get all my strawflower harvested. I want to harvest some seeds from things like cleome, sunflower, and strawflower. And we might need to hold off on all that harvesting until we get home from Longwood Gardens, because I want to take us over there to see that sunken garden that I was talking about. Also, I just feel like a Longwood Gardens trip is always in order, and I have 2 free hours this morning. So without further ado, let's get started harvesting, and then we'll take a little field trip together and then back here to kind of beat the rain and harvest some flowers. But before we get started, can we take a moment to admire some flowers? This Melina fleur is just knocking my socks off. Also, the cup and saucer vine has really started to take off now, and it's just oh so beautiful. My flowers are only lasting about a day or two before they completely fall off. Is that what happens with your cup and saucer vine? Great Silence is almost as beautiful as Melina fleur, and I just love how they look with the droplets of rain on their petals. You know, it's funny, I feel like as soon as the dahlias start to come on, you almost feel like fall is in the air. Do you guys feel like that? You want to hear something that's really weird? I feel like I'm in the Christmas spirit for some reason. I'm not really sure if it's all the rain we've been having or just all the heat, but something is making me kind of long to snuggle up with a blanket and watch these old Vlogmas episodes. It's kind of strange because it's 100 degrees outside. There's a gorgeous pineapple tomato here. So I think I want to make some tomato soup for dinner. I might have enough to do kind of a small batch of salsa. We'll have to wait and see. But these ones here are Amish paste tomatoes. Aren't they beautiful? And it looks like we have about 5 of these ready. That'll put you in a good mood right from the start, won't it? Do any of you guys do your own sun-dried tomatoes? I've never tried that before, but I would love to learn how. I'm not sure if it's hard or not, or what kind of supplies you need. So if anyone has a good recipe for sun-dried tomatoes, I'm all eyes and ears on learning how to do it. I'm just picking some more big beef right now, my personal favorite. Always such a great producer, right? This is also the first year that I've grown Golden Jubilee, and I tried one yesterday and it was so delicious. It almost reminded me of big beef in a way, but in a yellow tomato, and I think I even like this Golden Jubilee better than I like the Lemon Boy. It's a little more meatier, and I kind of enjoy just eating it all on its own with a little bit of salt and basil. There's a ton of these Lemon Boys today. I think I'll also put some Hungarian wax peppers in my soup just to give it a little bit of a kick. I see that I have some of these Cajun bell peppers coming on. I don't think these are quite ready yet, so I give them a few more days. But it does look like these lunchbox red bell peppers are ready, so why don't we go ahead and pick some of those. I think I should have brought out a bigger basket. Now that's just as beautiful as a bouquet of flowers, isn't it? All right, friends. Well, I see that everything is still really wet out here. So I'm gonna go ahead and hold off harvesting any seed or any straw flowers. And I think I'm just gonna get changed. Oh, did I just drop my cucumber? I'm gonna pick up my cucumber, change into something a little more comfortable for Longwood, and then let's go on a little adventure together. I'll be seeing you later, Grace. I'm gonna go to Longwood, okay? Is that all right with you? I wish you could come. I'll get you a treat on the way back, okay? Okay friends, here we are. We're down at the sunken Italian garden, and what I really want to take away from this is how many plants they like to repeat in this area, because I really want to do something similar right in front and surrounding my raised beds. And I think why I love this garden so much is they keep it simple by only using about maybe 5 to 10 plants in the entire area. And I think that's what I need to do over in my raised beds as well. I need to keep it a little more simple and less complicated. Kind of choose a color palette, stick with it, and then we'll have this nice planted area all around the raised beds that will just be for landscape enjoyment. That way when I cut the raised beds so heavily and they're left with nothing in them, we'll still have this kind of perimeter garden to enjoy. So this sunken garden has always been my favorite area. I think they do primarily annuals in this area, and then we're surrounded with a hedge of arborvitae. It looks like something like maybe a spring grove arborvitae if I had to guess. But if you can imagine, instead of a fountain, my raised beds, this is kind of the look I'm going for. Kind of this surrounding an area with a beautiful repetitive planting. So let's see what they have chosen to use this year. So this year it looks like they went with a lot of russ and peaches and a little bit of silver with this silver shield spur flower. We've got some lovely coleus going on here, some Peruvian lily. And it looks like we have some beautiful peach verbena in there, some wonderful hot pink salvia, those lovely orange cannas, and that's really great with that kind of differing foliage texture there. And then they have a few purple grasses as well. So I think the lesson is to pick a color palette, stick with it, and then just repeat that planting over and over and over again. And I'll have this, what I hope will be a wonderful display all throughout the growing season. And that's kind of my hope moving forward with next year, is that I'm going to continue to grow cut flowers in the landscape as much as possible, but I want to start to develop some areas that aren't for cutting, because right now my whole garden is for cutting, and that's wonderful, but then the garden kind of goes away as soon as it comes on. We have this beautiful flush of blooms, I cut it, it's all gone. And so I think I'm ready to kind of bring in a little more ornamental flowers, just so that my family can enjoy that as well. But there's so many beautiful things to see here at Longwood, and we are blessed with this amazing overcast day. So let's head up to the main flower walk and see all the beauty that lies up there. I love the mix of blues and peaches in this central garden right here. This is in the middle of the main flower walk. Let me take us to the very entrance so you can kind of see the rainbow of colors as you walk down. Friends, I love this little moment right here, and I'm seeing a sunflower that I'm not familiar with amazing foliage, so let's get a closer look. So I found the tag on this sunflower and it says it's called silver leaf sunflower, but look at the foliage on this. It's a beautiful silver color and it's very fuzzy and soft. Have you guys ever grown this kind of sunflower before? But I really love the mix of Dara here, zinnias, we have some chives it looks like, and then we have a purple hyacinth bean growing up these handmade trellises. And it says that they donate all the produce in this garden to a local food cupboard. I love that. Here's some ground cherries. Don't you love ground cherries? I always get flea beetle on mine. Friends, you see the hummingbird? Oh, where'd she go? So they have this really cool light installation going on right now at night. I think it's just called Light, but I'll put a link to it in the description section if you want to come visit. But if you come on a Thursday through Sunday, there is so many cool things going on. They do live music in the beer garden, then they do the nighttime fountain show, and then you can walk around and see all these really cool light installations. Some of the light installations even have music to go along with it. It's just a really great night out and such a wonderful thing to be surrounded with nature and art at the same time. Friends, I just found some mature pinky winky hydrangeas for us to look at. I had shown you mine in the July garden tour, and mine is really small still because I've been cutting on it really heavily the last 4 years. But let me pull back here at these steps so you can see just how big this hydrangea gets. And isn't it phenomenal? That is definitely a winner. There's even a hedge of them right here in front of the chimes tower. I stood next to it and I'm thinking this hedge is about 6 feet tall. Well, friends, I could stay here all day, every day at Longwood, but I think I better head home now, try to get those straw flowers and my seeds harvested before the next round of rain hits us. So I'll see you at home. So I've been harvesting this straw flower on an as-needed basis, but now I'm basically going to harvest the entire bed down to about half of its height. You can see too that the straw flower has grown so wonderfully this year. It's taller than I am. And I planted this straw flower out 6 weeks before the last frost. So that was probably about mid to late March when I was planting these out. And I believe we started all these seeds together. So I've tried to start them a little bit earlier outside than that. I've tried 8 weeks before the last frost and even 10 weeks before the last frost. That did not go so well. The 8-week planting was okay, but they needed some time to rebound. 10 weeks did not work at all for me. And I definitely feel like, at least from what I've seen throughout the years, is that the smaller the transplant, the better, especially with straw flowers since it's hardy only to zone 8. Times when I put out transplants that were a little bit larger, they almost seem to kind of like gellify or mush a little bit. They were just too big to handle that amount of cold. But a small transplant that kind of just fills the cell at 6 weeks before the last frost, I mean, I feel like it's really ideal, and I'm really happy with the height of these plants and the quality of these plants. And I believe they started blooming at least in early June. I think I have to look back. But with all that being said, let's go ahead and get this bed harvested. Because I can feel the humidity just kicking into full gear over here. So I'm gonna harvest all of these as if I was going to use them fresh, and then I'll take them inside and analyze which ones I wanna use for drying and which ones I wanna sell at the flower stand. Except I'll probably just ignore these ones that have started to turn and collect the seeds from these when they're ready. Straw flowers ready for harvest when you do the wiggle test. You know what, friends, I'm gonna have to put my hair down. The mosquitoes are too thick back here. 1 second. Got me. So your mosquitoes like this, mine seem to get worse as the day progresses. I'm pretty sure I have Asian tiger mosquito back here, and we have it so badly. You know, I got that Dynatrap, and I think I might be doing something wrong with it, but it is not working at all. I'm fully covered up. I've got spray on right now. And you know, they're still landing on my face. Can you believe it? Crazy, right? All right, friends, I have the bed pretty much picked clean. I left on some to go to seed, just a few on there that I want to stay on a little bit longer because basically all their petals are still together. So the ones showing pollen in the center I'm going to be using at the flower stand, because if I were to go ahead and dry those, these open a lot more as they dry, and what will happen is the petals will go all the way to the back, and also it'll almost start to go to seed inside if you started to dry one that looked like this. I think I even have some inside that I can show you. So when I want to dry strawflower, I like it to look like this because this will continue to unfurl inside in the drying process. This one won't show me its pollen, but say one like that, there's still a small chance I might see the pollen after I go ahead and completely dry them. That's somewhat just personal preference, but I know just personally, I definitely don't like to dry the ones where you can fully see the pollen because I just don't like the look they get when the petals completely go backwards and the inside kind of turns completely brown. So basically, if I let this strawflower dry, it would end up looking like this. And you might like that, and that's perfectly fine, but you can see it's almost started to go to seed there, and it's just not quite what I'm looking for. But here's one that I dried. And just as another example, this one is fresh. We just picked this together, and here's one that was picked in this manner and is fully dry at this point. It has started to show me a little bit of the center, but it hasn't completely pulled back and tried to go to seed inside like these ones. So here's the sunflower that I'd like to save. A bird just planted this for me, and it ended up being this really tall and strong sunflower with a single head that was so beautiful. And I'd like to save the seed for the $5 garden next year. So all I'm gonna do to save the seed is wait until basically the ray petals have vanished, and then I'm gonna cut the head off. Next, what I'm gonna do is remove all the disc petals. You can see just one head of this sunflower will be enough to fill up that entire $5 garden. Now I'll just set this on my drying rack for about 2 to 3 weeks, and let me show you one that's fully dry inside. So here's what it'll look like after about 2 weeks. And what I do now is either I can replant these this season, which I did go ahead, and you can see I removed some and replanted those in one of the raised beds right next to my pincushion flower, or I could just store these in my basement. I like to store them just in a box that's just a little bit open, and then I'll just check on them every once in a while since we're so high humidity here. But these store over the winter really well, and then you have tons and tons of seed for next year. And a lot of times they will just swipe out. Like, I'm not sure if I can capture this correctly or not. But you see, if you just give it a little swipe there, you get some chaff. I got an ant on me too. You get some chaff, but you can see the seed there clearly. And I like to just leave all the seeds on the head over the winter. I'm not honestly sure if that's the best thing to do or not. That's just always what I've done in the past. Maybe it would be better to take all the seed out and store them in a brown paper bag. But doing it like this, just making sure they're dry and putting them in the cardboard box has worked for me well in the past. I also want to save some columbine seed. That's over here in my grandma's garden. You can see that these pods are totally brown now. And you can just pull them off, kind of shimmy them in your hand, and the seeds fall right out. So I want to go ahead and harvest some cleome seeds. Some of the pods have already started to burst, so I'll just swipe them into a bag. I like to try and get to these right as they're about to burst, and at that point the seed will be a nice deep brown color. Just for comparison, I picked a pod that was at the very top of the cleome, right underneath the flower head, and these wouldn't be ready for storage yet. I have to pull the pod apart, and you can see these seeds are still wet and green. So I'm really looking for the pods at the base of the plant that have almost started to burst open on their own, and I'm looking for the seeds to be brown. And so I just like to store my cleome seeds in a clear paper bag like this, but what you can also do this time of year, and this is what I like to do also, is if you have an area where you'd like some cleome to develop, just literally throw the seeds in that area and kind of let nature take its course. That's always worked pretty well for me also. And they're always just turning up seemingly everywhere around this garden, sometimes in a good place and sometimes not. But a really great plant and really great and fun to collect the seed from them. But friends, I think I'm gonna wrap up today's video here. I am sure I am a hot and sweaty mess by this point, so I'm sorry about that. But thanks so much for spending some time with me here in the garden. I hope you guys are staying cool. And if you need rain, I hope you get some rain, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Bye.